man's faith in God is measured by his confidence in himself, because his imagination is God. Neville Goddard. What if the way you see reality is entirely backward? What if everything you experience, your relationships, your wealth, your health, is not determined by effort, luck, or external circumstances, but by something much closer to you, something within you? Most people go through life accepting reality as it is, believing that they must work hard, struggle, and hope for change. But Neville Goddard taught a radical truth. Your imagination is the creative force behind everything you experience. Whether you realize it or not, your imagination is shaping your world every moment. Consider this. Every great invention, every career, every relationship, every success first existed in someone's mind before it became real. Nothing can exist in your external world unless it first exists within you. By the end of this video, you will understand how to use this hidden power deliberately. You will learn how to imagine in a way that transforms your life, how to assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled, and how to manifest anything you desire. Let's begin. The power of imagination. Most people believe that imagination is just fantasy, something separate from reality. They see it as daydreaming, a temporary escape from life's limitations. But what if imagination is not an escape at all? What if it is the cause of everything you experience? Neville Goddard taught that imagination is the gateway to reality. It is not something you use occasionally. It is something you are using every moment, whether consciously or unconsciously. Every assumption you hold, every belief you entertain, every mental picture you return to, shapes the world around you. Think about the last time you worried about something. You played out a scenario in your mind, imagined the worst, and felt the emotions of fear or doubt. Later, you found yourself experiencing exactly what you had feared. Was it just coincidence? Or had your imagination paved the way for that outcome? Now, imagine applying the same principle deliberately, but in the direction of what you truly desire. If everything begins in the mind, then your only responsibility is to shape your inner world as you wish it to be. The outer world is simply a reflection of that inner state. If you could assume, even for a moment, that your imagination is not separate from reality, but is in fact the creator of it, what would you begin to imagine differently? Imagination as God within. Neville Goddard made a bold statement. The power men call God is the human imagination. This is not a metaphor. He meant it literally. For centuries, people have been taught that God is an external force, separate from them, governing life from a distance. But what if the creative power of God has been within you all along, working through your own assumptions, beliefs, and inner vision? Look at your life. Every success, every struggle, every relationship, whether wanted or unwanted, originated in your consciousness. The world around you is nothing more than a reflection of what you have imagined to be true. A sculptor does not beg the clay to take shape. He molds it. Your imagination is the sculptor, and your reality is the clay. If you wish to change the world outside of you, you must first change the world within you. This is what Neville meant when he said that imagination is God. It is the force that brings things into existence, the unseen power that turns thoughts into form. If this is true, and it is, then the real question is not whether you can manifest, but whether you will take responsibility for what you are constantly creating. Living in the end state. Most people spend their lives wishing for what they want, hoping that one day circumstances will change. But Neville Goddard taught a far more powerful approach. Do not wish. Assume. Instead of longing for a future event, step into the feeling that it has already happened. Live from the state of fulfillment, not from the state of wanting. Think of an actor preparing for a role. If they simply wish to be the character, nothing changes. But when they fully embody the role, adjusting their posture, their speech, their emotions, they become that character. In the same way, you must assume the role of the person who already has what they desire. If you had already received the promotion, the money, the relationship, how would you think? How would you feel? How would you move through the world? Align yourself with that state. When your imagination and feelings are saturated with the experience of already having your desire, the world has no choice but to reflect it back to you. This is not about forcing reality to change. It is about recognizing that it already has. The moment you assume your wish fulfilled, creation is finished. The outer world will catch up in time. The house exercise. Let's take a practical example. Suppose you desire a new home, but at this moment, you lack the resources to buy it. The logical mind might tell you it is impossible. But Neville Goddard taught that imagination is the only reality. If you can dwell in the experience of already having the house, it must manifest. Each night before sleep, close your eyes and mentally step into your new home. Walk through the rooms. Feel the texture of the walls beneath your fingertips. Hear the sound of your footsteps on the floor. Sit on the couch, look out the windows, and breathe in the satisfaction of knowing this home is yours. This exercise is not about daydreaming. It is about creating an inner experience so vivid and real that your subconscious mind accepts it as truth. When this happens, reality must rearrange itself to bring you the home you have claimed in imagination. This is the law in action. Assume the feeling of already having, and what you desire will come to you in ways you could never have planned. Neville often shared real stories of people who applied this principle and saw remarkable results. One such story is of a 17-year-old girl who found herself in a difficult situation, feeling trapped in circumstances beyond her control. One rainy afternoon, instead of focusing on her struggles, she used her imagination. She closed her eyes and saw herself standing on the deck of a ship, feeling the warmth of the sun on her skin and the salty breeze on her face. She imagined the steady movement of the ocean beneath her feet and the sound of seagulls in the distance. Though she was physically standing in the rain, mentally, she was already on her journey. Within a month, she received an unexpected inheritance, enough to take the exact trip she had envisioned. What seemed impossible became reality, not through effort or external struggle, but through the simple act of assuming the feeling of her wish fulfilled. This story is not unique. The same principle applies to anything you desire. When you live in the end, the path to fulfillment reveals itself naturally. The world around you bends to match the state you have claimed within. The role of sleep in manifestation. Neville Goddard taught that the state you occupy before sleep is one of the most powerful influences on your reality. Why? Because as you drift into unconsciousness, your subconscious mind becomes highly receptive, accepting whatever feeling dominates your inner world. Most people fall asleep thinking of their worries, frustrations, and disappointments, unknowingly reinforcing those states. But if you consciously assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled as you fall asleep, you impress this new reality upon your subconscious, making it inevitable in your waking life. Neville instructed, assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled as you fall asleep, and in time your assumption will harden into fact. Tonight as you lie in bed, instead of reviewing the day's troubles, shift your focus. Imagine your desire already realized. Feel the relief, the joy, the gratitude. Let those emotions carry you into sleep, and trust that the unseen forces of your subconscious will begin to shape your world accordingly. Manifesting a relationship. Many people long for love but remain stuck in a state of wanting. They look at their current reality, see the absence of a partner, and unknowingly reinforce that very absence. Neville Goddard taught that to attract love, you must not wish for it. You must assume it is already yours. One of his most effective techniques is the wedding ring exercise. Each night before sleep, close your eyes and imagine a ring on your finger. Feel its weight, its texture. Twist it slightly, noticing how it moves against your skin. More importantly, experience the emotions of already being in the loving relationship you desire. Do not wait for evidence in the outer world. The world mirrors your inner state, not the other way around. If you assume the feeling of being loved, cherished, and deeply connected, life will arrange itself to bring you the very relationship you have embodied. The question is not whether you can attract love, but whether you're willing to believe it is already yours. Imagination versus the rational mind. The greatest obstacle to manifestation is not the world outside of you. It is the logical mind that clings to facts and resists change. When you imagine something beyond your current reality, your rational mind immediately questions it. How can this be possible? Where will the money come from? What if it never happens? But Neville Goddard taught that imagination creates reality, not logic. If you allow reason to dictate what is possible, you will remain trapped in the world of appearances. True transformation requires that you suspend disbelief and fully trust in the unseen power of imagination. History proves this truth. If the Wright brothers had accepted the world's facts, they would never have built the first airplane. If great visionaries had listened to reason, they would never have brought their dreams into existence. You must do the same. Assume that your desire is already fulfilled, regardless of what your senses report. Persist in this assumption, and the so-called impossible will become inevitable. The world will bend to match the reality you have claimed within. The power of revision. Neville Goddard taught that the past is not fixed. If imagination creates reality, then it also has the power to reshape what has already happened. This is the secret of revision, a technique that allows you to mentally rewrite events so that they align with your desired outcome. One woman, heartbroken over her estrangement from her grandson, applied this principle. Each night she imagined receiving letters from him, reading his loving words, and feeling the joy of their renewed connection. Though nothing had changed in the outer world, she persisted in this assumption. Within days, real letters arrived, just as she had imagined. Most people believe they are prisoners of the past, but Neville taught that imagination is greater than history. If an event did not unfold as you wished, revise it. Replay it in your mind exactly as you would have wanted it to happen. Feel the new version as real. The subconscious mind does not distinguish between actual events and vividly imagined ones. It only accepts what you persistently assume to be true. What moments in your life would you rewrite? Start now and watch as the world reshapes itself to reflect your new assumption. Daily rewriting of reality. Every night, as you drift into sleep, you hold the power to reshape your world. Most people review their day passively, reliving disappointments, frustrations, and regrets. But Neville Goddard taught a far greater approach. Revision, the conscious act of rewriting events in your imagination to align with your ideal reality. Neville explained that the subconscious mind does not distinguish between a real memory and an imagined one. When you revise an event and experience it differently in your mind, your subconscious accepts this new version as truth. And because the outer world is simply a reflection of your inner assumptions, the revised state must manifest in your future experiences. Imagine you had an argument with a friend. Instead of replaying the conflict, relive the conversation in your mind, but this time, hear kind and understanding words. Feel the warmth of reconciliation, the ease of harmony between you. Or suppose you received bad news, an opportunity lost, a rejection, a financial setback. Before sleep, see yourself receiving exactly the outcome you desired. Feel the relief, the joy, the gratitude. Let it settle deep into your consciousness. This is not denial. This is mastery. The world does not hold power over you. Your imagination does. Each night you have the chance to erase limitations and rewrite your life according to your highest vision. If you persist in this practice, you will wake to a reality that reflects the perfection you have assumed. So tonight, as you lie in bed, ask yourself, what part of today will I choose to rewrite? Everything you have heard in this lesson points to one profound truth. Imagination is the creator of your reality. You are never at the mercy of circumstances, luck, or external forces. The world around you is not something happening to you. It is something responding to you. Neville Goddard's teachings are not theories. They are laws. The law of assumption states that whatever you persistently assume to be true, whether consciously or unconsciously, must externalize in your world. If you assume lack, you will experience lack. If you assume fulfillment, fulfillment will find you. Look back at what we have explored. You have learned that imagination is God within you, that assuming the feeling of the wish fulfilled reshapes reality, and that techniques like revision, living in the end, and falling asleep in the state of the wish fulfilled are the keys to manifesting anything. You have heard real stories of people who have transformed their lives through these principles. Now the question is, will you apply them? Tonight, before you sleep, take one desire, just one, and assume it is already yours. Do not wait for evidence. Do not look to the world for proof. Assume the feeling, trust the law, and watch as reality bends to match your inner conviction. Your imagination is limitless. Your power is infinite. You are already creating. Now it is time to create deliberately. What will you manifest first?